and then in the head, killing him. The illegal alien dreamer that murdered my son only served 4 months of an 8-month sentence for assault with a deadly weapon and battery on a police officer. He was released from the county jail the day before he executed my son.
While working the overnight shift at his Quick Trip store, Grant assisted a man buying cigarettes. The man then pulled the gun and stated, "You're not going to take my money, and you're not going to give me my cigarettes." Grant immediately offered up the cigarettes to the man who shot him in the face, killing him. The alleged murderer is an illegal immigrant. According to a news article detailing his 2012 arrest, he's a self-proclaimed member of the Mexican Mafia and says he has ties to the Sinaloa drug cartel.
Do black lives really matter, or does it matter only if you are shot by a white person or a white policeman? The district attorney proved in court that my son was murdered because he was black and wearing a Spider-Man backpack. I see and hear black politicians, black athletes, black stars say, "Hands up, don't shoot." My son was shot in the head by an illegal alien gangbanger while he lay on his back with his hands up. He still shot him through his hand into his head and killed him. Yes, black families matter. Yes, military families matter. All families matter. But the duty of the U.S. government is to always put American families first.
Huge reaction, author, columnist, Ann Coulter, and powerful. That was powerful. Here's a guy saying, hey, do black lives really matter, or does it only matter if you're shot by a white policeman or a white person? In other words, why the president stays silent when a black American is shot by an illegal immigrant that likely was let out by his Justice Department?
Right, and consider what a narrow category this is we're hearing from today. These are illegal aliens who have already been convicted of crimes in this country, scheduled for deportation, whom the Obama administration released and then went on to commit heinous crimes against yet more Americans. How about all non-citizens who are killing Americans in this country? Instead of hashtag Black Lives Matter, how about American Lives Matter? Because a lot more Americans have been killed by immigrants than have been killed by ISIS. The number is 4 now. And as long as you don't go to Syria, you're safe from ISIS. As I pointed out in my column this week, Americans are more likely to be killed by Johan Vandersloot than by ISIS, since we're more likely to vacation in Aruba than in Syria. But all we hear about day in, day out is ISIS. I mean, this amazing hearing today. Why is that not losing every news show tonight?
So we have the issue of funding the Department of Homeland Security, even though 87%, whether they fund it or not, is still going to be working. But it's a bigger issue. And Mitch McConnell wants to bifurcate the issue of funding the Homeland Security and the issue of funding Obama's executive amnesty. Ted Cruz says no. Our constitutional authority is the power of the purse and advice and consent, and we need to use it now. And if the Department of Homeland Security is not funded, put it on the Democrats. Who do you stand with strategically?
Well, of course, Ted Cruz, but you have to understand that Mitch McConnell will get all kinds of dividends on this from editorials in the New York Times. They will be praising his bravery.
Is that what we want now? We want conservative leaders to be praised by the New York Times?
It takes a lot of courage to betray your constituents, to break your promises in the interest of bipartisanship, and that is what Mitch McConnell is going for. No, of course, this is a total cave. It is nothing like prior government shutdowns. It's not a government shutdown. How many times do we have to go through this? The entire government is funded except this one agency, Department of Homeland Security, which, as you say, they all have to go to work anyway. They're all essential employees except a few secretaries. And this nonsense line we keep getting from Republicans like Kelly Ayotte, Mitch McConnell, Bob Corker, please write your senators, viewers, that, but the media will blame us.
Where is this fear?
The media blames Republicans for everything.
It's an irrational fear that they are going to get blamed for a shutdown. No, the Democrats have filibustered 4 separate occasions to even debate the issue of funding the Department of Homeland Security.
And I'd add in this Right, and I would add in this context that 2 Democrats have said they would vote with the Republicans
Manchin?
on defunding Obama's amnesty. Not only Joe Manchin from West Virginia, but Claire McCaskill from Missouri. And Claire McCaskill, I don't like her politics, but she's a good politician. I would look at what Claire McCaskill is doing, or maybe how voters voted last November to see whether this is a strong issue for Republicans. And instead of sitting back and whining about how the media is unfair, how about taking the airwaves? How about telling Americans that it is Democrats who are refusing to fund the Department of Homeland Security unless it also includes funding to produce work permits for illegal aliens, to give every illegal alien $25,000 in welfare payments that they weren't able to receive as long as they were illegal, to give Social Security cards to illegal aliens. It is one thing for Obama to say, through prosecutorial discretion, we're not going to go waste a lot of resources hounding these people out of the country. It is another thing for them to be printing work permits and sending them checks from the U.S. Treasury. But again, at least McConnell will get good press from the New York Times. I wouldn't say much for the Republican Party, though.
I agree with you. All right, Ann Coulter, thank you so much. When we come back, Charles Krauthammer is here to weigh in on the 2016 presidential candidates. But first, tonight.
How did you grow up, Giuliani? A privileged cracker, or I should say, a privileged devil.
A privileged devil cracker. Nation of Islam leader Screwy Louis Farrakhan takes a nasty swipe at former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani. Coming up next, Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal, California Congressman Darrell Issa. They come to Giuliani's defense as we continue straight ahead.
Keep in mind, people, racism goes more than one way.